For those listening at home, it's basically hard to describe, but it's a very sexy plane. It's a highly sexualized plane with boobs. I'm sorry, but you're not on the YouTube, but it's the face is the nose of the plane, and the wings are kind of like wings on an angel on a kind of a boobed plain woman for the Navy. Oh, like the Navy Blue Angels. I'm an idiot. But first, let's get into it. What a week. Breaking news, James Comey has entered his Luigi era. White House officials have accused former FBI head James Comey of calling for Trump's assassination after he posted a now deleted photo of the numbers 8647 spelled out in seashells this is real, with the caption, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." Yes. All right, no. For when you saw one set of footprints in the sand, that was when I was leaning out of the window of the book repository. Said a White House spokesperson on X, while President Trump is currently on an international trip to the Middle East, the former FBI director puts out what can clearly be interpreted as a hit on the sitting president of the United States, a message etched in the sand. This is a deeply concerning message to all of us and is being taken seriously. Just James Comey casually calling for my dad to be murdered, said Don Jr. Kristi Noem, head of Homeland Security, called it a threat of assassination. And with that, my work here is done, said Hillary Clinton, shaking sand out of her kitten heels. But she got him. But lest you think Comey has gone full Antifa, he deleted the post and apologized, claiming he didn't realize the number 86 was associated with violence, said the former FBI director. In MS-13, we just use it as a friendly greeting. And speaking of friendly greetings, on Sunday, ABC News reported that the Trump administration was preparing to accept a $400 million luxury Boeing 747 from the royal family of Qatar, all because Trump came closer than Emmanuel Macron in guessing the retail value without going over. You gotta give him credit. It's a good bribe. You give me a free private airplane, you can own me, no problem. I don't have to go to LAX anymore. Please, tell me my new opinions. And now the Emiratis are like, Qatar got him the plane. What's left on the registry? Golf clubs, dish towels? Fuck, we're fucked. Under the arrangement, Trump would use the plane as Air Force One, but at the end of his time in office, it would be transferred to Trump's presidential library. Oh, thanks, said the librarian. A plane. Complicating all of this is that Boeing is currently upgrading two VC-25B planes to each serve as Air Force One, but blew past their initial delivery deadline of 2022. The planes are now expected to enter service by 2027. Boeing got caught up pursuing its other passion project, making sure their other planes stop falling out of the sky. If you love what you do, you won't work a day in your life. A spokesperson for Boeing explained, we'd have delivered these a lot sooner, but you know what they say, the customer's always right, so now we need to figure out how to get the doors to stay on. Keep sending back the planes. Republicans hemmed and hawed about how to react to Trump's big, shiny new gift, but not Senator John Kennedy.
I trust Qatar like I trust a rest stop bathroom.
Honestly, this is why we can't have nice things. The rest stop bathroom isn't asking for our trust, Senator. It asks nothing of us but piss. Kennedy went on to say this.
With those guys, trust in God, but tie up your camel.
Got him. Rand Paul agreed, telling Fox News' Jesse Waters.
See, I've spent time trying not to sell weapons to Qatar because they have human rights violations of their people. I really haven't been a big fan, and I wonder if our ability to judge their human rights record would be clouded by the fact of this large gift.
Oh, Rand Paul, don't worry about that. Trump will ignore human rights abuses for free. You don't have to pay him for that. Senator Rick Scott also gave it a thumbs down, telling reporters, "I'm not flying on a Qatari plane. They support Hamas. I don't know how you make it safe." Yeah, well, Rick, doesn't sound like you're going to be invited on the plane. So you're a little bit like Sonia saying she'll be in Phuket for Luann's wedding. I watch Housewives now, and it's becoming my whole personality. But Sonia did get the save the date. All right. Oh. So it's a little bit more complicated, a little bit nuanced. Over on CNN, Scott Jennings pointed to the real villains.
And I think there's a reason that numerous Republicans have encouraged him not to go through with it today, because they know the optics of it, given his previous statements about Qatar and given what we know about their funding of terrorism. That's all absolutely true. At the same time, I actually think there's a larger scandal going on here, which is that Boeing cannot deliver an Air Force One.
Yeah, man, totally. It's about the optics, the corrupt optics, like complaining about arson because it's so bright. Tweeted Trump's former rival Nikki Haley, "Accepting gifts from foreign nations is never a good practice, especially when that nation supports a terrorist organization. Regardless of how beautiful the plane may be, it opens a door and implies the president and U.S. can be bought. If this were Biden, we would be furious." Okay, but what if the plane were very, very beautiful? And you're right. Accepting bribes does imply that you'd accept bribes. He accepts bribes. The implication is that he can be bought because he has been bought. Let's see that beautiful plane again. For those listening at home, it's basically hard to describe, but it's a very sexy plane. It's a highly sexualized plane with boobs. I'm sorry, but you're not on the YouTube, but it's the face is the nose of the plane, and the wings are kind of like wings on an angel on a kind of a boobed plain woman for the Navy. Oh, it's a Blue Angel. Oh, like the Navy Blue Angels. I'm an idiot. Thank you so much. House Speaker Mike Johnson offered this defense of Trump.
The reason that many people refer to the Bidens as the Biden crime family is because they were doing all this stuff behind curtains. Whatever that President Trump is doing is out in the open. They're not trying to conceal anything.
Yeah, really smart points, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. Crime is legal as long as you do it out in the open for all the world to see. Like drugs in San Francisco or 9/11. Stupidest fucking point I've ever heard. Trump defended his Sky Palace in a Truth Social post, writing, "So the fact that the Defense Department is getting a gift free of charge of a 747 aircraft to replace the 40-year-old Air Force One so bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. The Dems are world-class losers." No one is denying that the Democrats are world-class losers. But the plane is also a bribe. Two things can be true at the same time. Trump continued to defend the offer to reporters on Monday.
So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much. I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture.
Also, check out this badass giant wooden horse they gave me. But here's the stupidest part of this whole saga. To secure and upgrade this plane would cost the US over $1 billion, and the retrofit would take years. And that's just to take out all of the Qatari toilet cams and then put in our patriotic all-American toilet cams. It really must be so frustrating for Trump. He wants a plane. If it's to become Air Force One, he can't use it. But if it's just to be a private jet, he can't accept it. It's a real gift to the Magi situation. If the Magi were heading to Bethlehem to kill Jews. We didn't know if that joke would play at Flappers, and I'm proud of you. Let's see that sexy plane again. All right. The plane was merely the most interesting of the corruption schemes playing out as Trump set off for Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. In just the past year, the Trump Organization, currently run by Don Jr., Eric, and what has to be another person, announced the development. This has to be a third person we don't know about. announced the development of a Trump Tower in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and 2 other Trump-branded properties in the capital city of Riyadh. The difference between a Trump Tower and a Trump-branded property is important. Only an authentic Trump Tower comes with a Rudy Giuliani in the belfry. The Trump Organization has also announced a new Trump golf club at Qatar and an 80-story Trump hotel. And in Dubai, last month, the UAE fund invested $2 billion in World Liberty Financial. That's the Trump family crypto brand. And that's just a few of the brazen, corrupt business deals that Trump and his dipshit sons are pursuing. It isn't even close to all of it. If we tried to go through all of it, that would be the whole show. And what am I supposed to say to the rest of the performers we booked? Sorry, small family of golden retrievers who can juggle. You've been bumped for the horrors. And we have so much else to talk about, like the fact that Saudi Arabia deployed a mobile McDonald's for our big special voice visit. It's awesome. If Saudi Arabia ever wants to take me out Khashoggi style, this is how they'll get me. Anyway, it's no wonder Trump couldn't help but fawn over Saudi Arabia's ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, at Tuesday's Saudi Arabia-U.S. Investment Forum.
One of our great partners, no matter who we look to, and we have great partners in the world, but we have none stronger and nobody like the gentleman that's right before me. He's your greatest representative. And if I didn't like him, I'd get out of here so fast. You know that, don't you? He knows me well. I do. I like him a lot. I like him too much. That's why we give so much, you know? Too much. I like you too much.
Be careful, Don. They got laws about that kind of thing over there. There was a time when unabashedly praising the leader of an authoritarian Middle East regime was frowned upon. In fact, I'm old enough to remember what happened when Barack Obama greeted this guy's uncle with what they described as a bow.
While President Obama didn't kiss the guy, he did seem to bow. Look at that. But the White House says, no. He wasn't bowing. He was just double handshaking to a smaller guy. You saw it, you make the call.
There were editorials. This was in the Washington Times. By bending over to show greater respect to Islam, the U.S. president belittled the power and independence of the United States. Republicans went nuts. Trump mocked him. And all Obama did was bow. Trump got down on his knees and let this guy tickle his uvula. They said Obama went on an apology tour. And it's true, Trump isn't saying sorry, but that's just because his mouth is full. Flappers. All right. Love It or Leave It is brought to you by Bombas. People talk about spring cleaning, but here's what we should really be talking about. Bombas spring socks. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a busy time of year, and the right socks can make or break your spring. Ready to actually commit to your new running hobby? Bombas thoughtfully designed, blister-fighting, sweat-wicking athletic socks help you get from mile 1 to marathon in comfort and in style. Looking for a nice pair to wear to a wedding? Bombas ultra-soft dress socks are made for heels and all your other hard-bottom party shoes. Oh, man. Hard-bottom party shoes. Engineered to keep you comfortable enough to hit the dance floor one more time. They make the ultimate errand socks, from actually spring cleaning to walking the dog to everything in between. Bombas took their socks arch-hugging, stay-up cuff, ultra-cushion design very seriously so you can take a load off. You know what goes great with new spring socks? Fresh white tees, waterproof slides, which I have, and a few pairs of buttery soft, seamless underwear. Bombas makes all that too. International shipping. In addition to the U.S., they now ship to over 200 countries. I wear Bombas every day.
I love Bombas.
I'm wearing Bombas right now. They have these great vintage style socks with the stripes. I wear them constantly. I wear them every single day. Bombas started making socks when they learned that they're the #1 most requested clothing item in homeless shelters. So thank you for shopping with Bombas. You've helped donate over 150 million essential items. Now that's a lot of socks and a lot of kindness. Head over to bombas.com/loveit and use code LOVEIT for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/loveIt. Code LOVEIT at checkout. Back at home, Trump cruelly revoked the temporary protected status afforded to Afghan refugees. These are the people who risked their lives to help American troops during the war and who might face brutal retribution by the Taliban if they're sent back to Afghanistan. Said one Afghan American who had served as an interpreter with U.S. Special Forces, it's a death penalty for them if they return. Here's Deputy Secretary of State Chris Landau explaining why the White House has shut down refugee programs and is threatening to deport Afghan allies while welcoming refugees from South Africa.
There are many people who fit the criteria of seeking help, who are fleeing persecution. Afghans, for example, they live in a country run by the Taliban, but they're being denied refugee status. So I'm wondering, why has such an exception been made for the Afrikaners?
The pause, of course, was subject from the very beginning to exceptions where it was determined that this would be in the interest of the United States. Some of the criteria are making sure that refugees did not pose any challenge to our national security and that they could be assimilated easily into our country.
We actually have footage of the Trump administration determining whether a refugee is eligible to resettle in the U.S.
He's white? He's white.
I haven't seen the Elvis movie. Maybe I will. Speaking of white people, on Mother's Day, Health Secretary RFK Jr. posted photos of himself and his grandchildren swimming in D.C.'s Rock Creek, where swimming is not allowed because the creek is full of sewage. This is actually important because while there are many theories, no one has ever actually seen the place where Kennedys spawn. I'm sorry, I think I'm actually thinking of eels. That's about eels. Polluted runoff flows into the creek when it rains and the water is heavily contaminated with E. coli and other bacteria. This in addition to the big disgusting RFK Jr. it has floating in it. The water is so bad, it's actually known in DC restaurants as filtered tap. While Trump was gallivanting in the Gulf and RFK Jr. was splashing around in human shit, House Republicans unveiled their $4.5 trillion tax break and Medicaid cut bill that would lead to 10 million people losing their health insurance. The bill would create work requirements for Medicaid recipients, even though the vast majority of Medicaid recipients already work, have a disability, are very sick, are in school, or are taking care of a family member. People on Medicaid would also have to prove their eligibility every 6 months instead of once a year. The bill would also create higher out-of-pocket costs for most Medicaid recipients, including those who are barely above the federal poverty line. Quick, what do you think the federal poverty line is for a single individual? It's $15,650. You make $16,000, pay up, you fucking fat cat. The bill would also shorten the open enrollment period for the Affordable Care Act, all because coming out and saying that we're throwing people off of their health care is politically toxic, so they're going to use paperwork to do it anyway. The Trump administration's position is very simple. All bureaucratic red tape should be ripped out of the federal government and wrapped around poor people mummy style. Got to get him. All right, we're in the dark phase of this. We'll get back. I see what you want. You want jokes about his stupid fucking plane. As of this recording, the bill is in limbo because Republicans have no margin for error given their slim majority. Some Republicans think it goes too far to cut healthcare. Others don't think it goes far enough. And Nancy Mace just saw a woman with a strong jaw finish a big gulp. So now she has to spend her afternoon in the vents above the ladies' room, so she's out. And speaking of crawling around in the vents of the Capitol, we are heading back to D.C.
This week, a hot new bombshell enters the film.
Stop it. That doesn't make any sense. We're doing a special World Pride show on Friday, June 6th, back at our home at the Lincoln Theater. And this time, it's a special crossover event with Tim Miller and Sarah Longwell from The Bulwark. It's Jetsons Flintstones, but everybody's gayer than George Jetson. The event is called Free Andre, a Crooked Bulwark World Pride fundraiser. It'll be a night of venting, laughing, commiserating, venting, and most importantly, raising money for the Immigrant Defenders Law Center, which is representing makeup artist and actor Andre Hernandez Romero and others who were disappeared to El Salvador without so much as a hearing. Because this Pride is about fighting for the day when we can stop flirting with autocracy and go back to just flirting. It's a serious cause, but it's going to be a fun show with special guests you won't want to miss. Tickets are going to go fast, so please don't wait, or the Bulwark freaks will scoop them up. We're doing it. I love my Bulwark freaks. We're donating all ticket proceeds to the Immigrant Defenders Law Center, so get your tickets now at crooked.com/events. That'll be Friday, June 6th at the Lincoln Theater. We'll have more to say about what we'll be doing around the show to keep the focus on freeing Andre and keeping the pressure on the administration, so stay tuned. But for now, get those tickets. In other news, a study found, this is no transition, just deal with it. In other news, a study found that wild chimpanzees use medicinal plants to tend to their own and each other's wounds. Oh, but when I chew up a bunch of leaves and apply them to my wounds, I'm disturbing the other diners at this pop-up Saudi McDonald's. About to get kicked off Medicaid? Try chip medicine. If you're able to get to West or Central Africa and aren't too sick to climb trees, it's free. Chimp medicine. Speaking of acting like a bunch of apes, the Warner Brothers Discovery announced that it will rename their streaming platform yet again, changing it back from Max to HBO Max. They realized that naming it after half of Cinemax was not as good as naming it after HBO. They cracked it. So I'm sorry to tell all of you this, but HBO Max is detransitioning. It's detransitioning is real. HBO Max is detransitioning. Topps announced that their Pope Leo XIV trading card outsold cards for LeBron James and Victor Wembanyama, though Ohtani is still their top seller, which isn't surprising, even though Pope cards generally have low HP. Their attack and abilities are insane. Gotta get a Pope in your deck. Morris, the alligator, who appeared in Happy Gilmore, among other films and TV projects, has died at a gator farm in Colorado. He was at least 80 years old, but he died doing what he loved, fentanyl. Said the gator farm's tearful owner, he started acting strange about a week ago. He wasn't lunging at us and wasn't taking food. Continued the owner, wiping away tears. Ah, shit, not supposed to get these new alligator boots wet. Thank you. And finally, British historians have verified a copy of the Magna Carta that Harvard Law School bought decades ago for $27 is actually an original from the year 1300. And now, in 2025, it's worth rereading. Let's see that played one more time. All right.